Okay, how do you know if you're a fit? You're talking to someone, how do you know if you're actually compatible? Now, in this module, I'm going to talk more about how to go about talking to someone and the process of when you match with someone and like the talking stages. Okay, so there are two ways someone can show up when they're talking to someone. And I use the word dating, but y'all know what I mean, Islamically, whatever. Your intention is to get married. So you're talking to someone, your only goal is to see, are they my husband? Are they my spouse? Or are they not my spouse? And what people can get caught up in is they start developing a relationship before anything. Like they're just like, they start flirting, they start like falling in love, they start like fantasizing about their wedding and their kids and like their grandkids. And it's like, baby girl, we just started. Like it was just, we're just one day in. Like we need to go that in. Which, by the way, the cure to infatuation is living a fulfilling life. So just check that module out again. But anyways, you are starting off with um is this my spouse or not? So what do you need to do? Every question you ask, every move you make, every meetup you're with, every conversation you have, every FaceTime you have, you're trying to see is this someone that I want? As soon as you slip into, do they like me? Am I likable enough for them? Am I good enough for them? We've lost the plot. Now we get caught up in the emotions. Now we get caught up in how to get them to like me. You're not showing up as your authentic self anymore. Or even, vice versa of like, how can I get what can they do to serve me? Not that. Like what we're trying to do is, are they my spouse or not? So how to determine this is you're going to refer to your values, the value system that you have. You're looking for these values. So what you're doing is as you match with someone, I'm going to pretend you just matched with someone, either on the apps or someone recommended to you or you met someone, and you're trying to see, do they have the values that I'm looking for? And remember from the values video, you're looking for someone that matches the values you're looking for, which is I want someone who's understanding, who's empathetic, who values faith, who is ambitious, uh, who's authentic, who's real, who I can have fun with, who we can like have vibe with, conversational wise. And at the same time, you are, as you're authentic, you have boundaries. Your time is very precious. No one just deserves your time just like you don't just spend time just because for the sake of because it's fun. And it's very easy to slip into the funness of the relationship, which is getting carried away with having a person to talk to. We don't want that. Because if you slip into that, you're going to get attached and it's going to be very hard to actually see things for what they are. So what you're going to do is you have a list of values, and it's very helpful to have this list of values and writing it before you're even attached to anyone. And I pray that you're not attached to anyone, but if you are, just try to make that list without you being attached to anyone. And you're looking for, what do I want? What do I need? What are the must-haves and what are the not must-haves? Like what are the deal breakers? So as you're talking, let's say you just matched with someone, your questions, your questions, your conversations all revolve around getting to know if they have this value. That could mean small talk. That's okay that you have small talk. That could mean whatever is most comfortable for you to get to know if they have the values you're looking for. So how would you ask is, for example, if you're looking for someone who has compassion, who's very compassionate, how do they respond when you share a problem with them? If you ask about if they you're talking about your day and you're saying you have a problem, do they respond with, "Oh, like, I'm sorry you went through that and that really sucks," or do they just kind of dismiss you and move on to or they say things like, "Oh, my day was harder." Like it's a competition. That tells you their values. And also, another side note, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for the patterns that they have. So if someone shows up and they constantly dismiss you, they do not have the values that you're looking for. You're not like having the values of understanding and compassionate. And when it comes to standards and raising your standards, these are the standards I'm talking about. Everything else is just a cherry on top. But I'm talking about values in terms of like character, right? Like the values I talked about in the values video. Um, do they have the proper character? Do they have like the understanding, the respect? Do they respect me? Do they belittle me? What are they doing? Right? You're just observing. And so, as you're talking to someone, you are coming at it from a very clean place. You've done the work that I told you about. You've done the work about cleaning up your story. You've done the work about your thoughts about men, your thoughts about like the process, your thoughts about yourself. You're coming at it from a place of I'm here to look for my spouse. Let me see what do I like, let me ask him certain questions to see how this goes. You're not asking like an interview, hmm, like, is he gonna mess up? No. You're just asking very casually, very authentically. You're getting to know another human. And side note, I know I have a lot of side notes, but it just thoughts come up. Um, the person you're talking to, if there's someone you think they're a good spouse, they're a good match, you cannot put them on a pedestal. And the reason you put them on a pedestal is you think like, "Ah, this is it. They're the ones that are gonna fix my life," which is what makes you put them on a pedestal. And so when you put them on a pedestal, you start acting weird. You start acting like not yourself anymore. You start triple checking your phone to see when they text you, when they didn't text you. No, 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 no. What you're gonna do is you're focused on, I am a valuable person. Anyone would be lucky to be married to me. And I'm looking for someone who matches what I'm looking for. These are my values. Do they match my values? As soon as you see they have a deal breaker or they clearly don't match your values, you stop it. I prayed istikhara and you do actually pray istikhara and you say, this doesn't feel good to continue. So, may Allah wish you an amazing journey and it was good talking to you. And you cut it off. And so this is when if you see that the values don't match. Now, what tends to happen is especially women who have a very scarcity mindset about their age, they think that I'm not giving it enough of a chance, or I'm not doing enough to ask enough. This shows up more for anxious attachment people. They tend to give more of a chance than necessary because they're anxious because they need to make it work, because they're running out of time and I need to find it now subconsciously. And like I said, I'm going to keep pulling this up. The more you do that, the more you're stuck on the person and you're not going to meet your actual person. So the faster you make the decision, the better you get there. And the thing with the avoidant attachment, they do the opposite. What they do is any minor inconvenience, they just stop. They just end it. And I can relate to this one as a fellow avoidant. I feel your pain. I would just think like anything that's like minorly inconvenient to my life, I'm like, nope, 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 nope. I don't have time for this, and you end it, which is also not good. So what you want to do is you want to focus on values and take the time you need to invest if whether or not this person is your person or not. And how do you do that? You ask questions. You keep asking questions. You hear them on the phone. You FaceTime. You see, okay, is this a match? Is this not a match? Is this like what are my doubts? Talk yourself through the doubts. Talk to someone about your doubts. Someone trusted, not a single person. Please, for the love of God, do not talk to your single friends about it. Because you know what they're gonna say? Girl, leave him. He's not worth your time. He's not this. And it's like, no, there's something called relation, like humanness that has to be factored in to see what's normal and what's not normal. And so what you're doing as you're talking to someone is you're just seeing, is this someone that I want to continue with or not? And what you're gonna check in with is your gut feeling of like, does this feel good to continue, or does am I continuing because I'm afraid that there's nothing else? So you're just, you're observing your values. You're seeing, okay, these are the values that I have, these are the values that he has. Are we a match? And it doesn't have to match all the values you have. It's more of like the core ones that really, really actually matter. Compassion, faith, understanding, whatever it is, right? So that's what you're kind of aiming for. And so let's say you get to a point where you're like, okay, let's say week two, week one, week two, week three. I advise you not to go more than that. But just for the sake of like seeing if you guys are a match or not, just on paper, like deal breaker wise and must haves. So you've reached a point where, all right, you have your must haves and deal breakers are not there. And what I would recommend to get to that point is to try to get on a call as fast as possible. Do not text for that long. The faster you can get on a call, the easier it is to weed them out. And you're doing it out of great intentions, right? Ya Allah, like I just want to know if this is my person or not. And so you're just getting it as fast as you can. You're not people pleasing. You're not worrying about do they like me or not. You're just trying to see, okay, do we have a match? Are we a fit or not? Yes, no, okay, move on. So if there is a fit, okay, you're not gonna get excited, which again, subconsciously we do, but that's okay. What you're going to do now is this is the second part that I teach is once you find out you're good on paper, you're going to have the conversation and you can even send this video to them if they want to like be on board with you. But the conversation is, okay, I see that we've had a match, like, we match kind of the must-haves and deal breakers. I heard this coach talk about the 90-day process, and this is the process that helps you really take things more intentionally and seriously to make a decision quicker, more efficiently. Maybe quicker is not the word. And what we do is we spend the next 90 days really getting to know each other to see if we're a fit for marriage or not. And by the end of the 90th day, or before, if we find any deal breakers, we decide if we want to continue or if we want to reset the 90 days to see, continue the next steps, which is engagement or nikah or whatever is suitable for your culture, like whatever your culture believes in. Okay? And the purpose of this is if there's no direction, you could spend the next 6 months, year, 10 years, and I've seen that, getting to know each other, talking because you guys are not ready and you don't know where you're going. No, in these 90 days, your only goal is to see what information do I need to make the decision that this is my person or this is not my person. And so during these 90 days, a lot of doubts will come up, a lot of problems will come up, and you guys will talk it through. And if something comes up that feels absolutely we cannot continue, you break it off, you say alhamdulillah, and you move on. And you have to have that conversation. Once you realize like, okay, it's a match, you feel comfortable enough to say like, I think this is a good idea to talk it through. And so you set 90 days. This is for both of you, for the sake of both of you, to make sure you're not wasting each other's time. I would love to see if our wants match, if our lives align, so that way we show up very Islamically aligned in a way where we're only talking for the sake of seeing if we're ready for marriage, both of us. And because if we don't, relationship stuff can easily slip into fun, haha, flirting, like let's just have fun. How are you doing? Oh, like you're so cute. Like that can easily ruin everything. And so if you're someone who does slip into that, you just say astaghfirullah, you renew your intentions, you start over. But you're kind of you have to see things from a very like we're just trying to see if we're a good match or not. And that doesn't mean you have to be rigid and like an interview, like, okay, the next 90 days we can't like say anything like playful. Like it's okay, like relax, like be playful, like playful as in like jokingly. Like I know people can misunderstand this. So let me give an example. So if I'm my authentic self, I remember like saying this once, but if he's saying like, hey, like, would you like to get on a call? I'll be like, I'll get on a call if you did you get permission from my dad yet? Like what's going on there? And like you're more playful. Like you're not like rigid. I hope that made sense. I feel like I have this like like my subconscious fear that people are gonna like a whole group of extremists is gonna attack me for what I'm saying. So I'll just like ignore that. And if you do choose to be very disrespectful to me, you will be removed from my channel for sure. Um, but anyway, besides the point, my goal with this is to help you see that everything's very intentional, very purposeful, very meaningful. You're not just cruising. You're not just seeing where things go. And if you are seeing where things go, there's a plan, there's a container, there's everything's like planned out. And all it takes is communication to make sure you're both on the same page. So, yeah. So if it helps to just send this part of the video to the person you're talking to, so that way you're both on the same page, because the goal is both of you just want to be happy and make good decisions, so that you don't waste each other's time. Now, what comes up usually during these 90 days, there's going to be things that are very concerning, and your job is to communicate it. Your job is to be like, hey, like, I have this thing that I'm concerned about. What are your thoughts on this? So if you notice something that, let's say, they don't text back the way you want, or they take multiple days to text back, you just want to like, I think with this 90 days, I'd love if we, scheduled time from like this day or this day so that we can really get to know each other. And all you're doing is observing. And if you've made that request and they didn't follow through, there's no need for you to get upset. There's no need for you to be offended and think, oh, you're not likable or you're not good enough. You just say, okay, what I'm noticing is you're not as invested as I am, and I think I would like to end the conversation here because I'm looking for someone who is invested in certain ways. And what you want to check for is you're not being overly, what's the word? Overly over the top with your expectations of when someone should call you and text you. And what can help is really like checking in with someone to see like, are you being unrealistic? And do not check in with your single friends. Check in with a married friend who's actually like smart about this stuff. But you're gonna have conversations that come up that are very uncomfortable, and you're supposed to have the uncomfortable conversations. Because if you don't, then you could spend the next, and I've seen this unfortunately. People avoid the very hard conversations that they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to make it end, so they wait till the very last minute to have those conversations. Conversations like how many kids, how many like what would happen if this, what are we gonna move here? Are we gonna move that? And there's an absolute disagreement, that's gonna be a problem. So you got to have those conversations up front. You don't have to be afraid. You're just checking to see if this is my spouse or not. Because there's at the end of the day, what's meant for you will come to you. So, like I said, you check, you match with someone. You make first of all, you always make the intention. Ya Rabbi, let this be good for me, and let me see if this is my person or not, and make it very clear for me. And every day you're praying istikhara. When you're talking to someone, you are praying istikhara with the mindset that, Ya Allah, if this is good for me, keep it. If it's not good for me, take it away. You're doing that every day because you're training your brain to see things from that perspective. If it's not good for me, take it away. You're not attached. You're not like trying to make it work. You're not trying to make it work with someone who's not your person. You're depending on Allah, ya Allah. If this is good for me, make it happen. If it's not, take it away. So if what happens is if you're talking and by the end of the 90 days you realize, oop, there's a deal breaker, that's what was good for you because you're learning from it. And Allah doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't put people in your life by accident. There's a lesson in it, and your job is to see things from that perspective. There is no such thing as failure. You're only learning. You're only learning and you're growing, and you cannot make it mean that something's wrong with you or you're not doing enough or whatever story you tell yourself. None of it. Okay, so this is the process part. And what you do, I forgot to add, during this 90 days, you are going to either do the 100 questions by Imam Majid, and also I think the Suhba Institute. If you go on their website, they have a great questionnaire that's good to go through as well. But literally just ask any questions that come to mind during these 90 days, and you make sure you come to an agreement. And if you cannot come to an agreement and it feels very stubborn, you end it. You do not wait, oh, maybe they'll change, maybe they, maybe they're just confused. If you want to, you can. If you want to, you can spend the next year doing that. And people sometimes do. But I would trust your gut. I would trust, like, okay, this is a topic that's really not going to be okay. And so you would trust on that. And in the meantime, during these 90 days, you're also coming with the lens of understanding and compassion, that they're a human being. So what I mean by that is they will make mistakes. They will slip up. Do they take the time to apologize and own up to their mistakes? Do you take the time to be compassionate when they make a mistake? Or do you get triggered and like throw a fit for the next week and literally like push them away because of that? And you're just observing yourself, you're observing them, and there's no shame in all of it. It's all just gathering information. And that's what you do when you match with someone. You're gathering information, you're seeing if they're your person or not, and you're making istikhara every day. And you're just, you're and the way you ask the questions, you don't have to be so serious up front, but you can say like, hey, let's set aside time to ask these questions. And every time you talk and meet up, you're asking one or two questions. And if you have doubts about someone, you ask about it. Okay. And you just trust the process. And one question I usually get is, oh, what if they're lying? What if they're lying and they're not telling the truth? And like I said, your intuition is very, very strong. You have a very good intuition. And so when you notice something feels off, you want to take the time to ask about it. And when you're operating from your best self, not from your ego, not from fear, when you're operating from your best self, you're very clear on what you're looking for and you're trying to understand. So if someone lies about something, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of an example, but if they lie about something and then you're just like, oh, this feels off. Like, can you say more on that? Like, what do you mean by that? And you notice them explaining, and then you might start noticing that they're giving you an answer that you want rather than an answer that's real. Someone who's authentic with themselves can tell the difference. And that's what you're practicing. You're practicing being real with yourself. You're practicing kind of understanding what feels real, what feels off, but what feels does what doesn't. So kind of a warning side note, but anxious people tend to overlook that, and avoidant people tend to immediately dismiss. So sometimes avoidant people, they face a problem, and instead of like really questioning what they're feeling, they just think, oh, it's not for me, and they just leave it versus like sitting with it for a minute. Okay, why does this bother me? It bothers me because he said it like this, and maybe this reminds me of a childhood trauma, and maybe that's why that bothers me. Okay, great. So that's something for you to own. That's for you to work on. But if it's something like he really like doesn't, it just really feels wrong, and you do your part by showing up and questioning it like a human being, like a decent human being. You're being compassionate, but also understanding and like being direct with him or her. And if they, give you an answer that, makes your gut kind of twinkle is the word. I don't know how else to describe it, but it just feels off, right? Your spidey senses just feel off. And so you want to really like question, like, sit with that, and it really helps to consult with someone who's an expert in this to really help you determine if it's something that's worth, leaving or not. But otherwise, I would say if it's a very strong gut feeling and you feel like I just would rather not continue, then listen to that and move forward. Okay, so that ends this module. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next video.